Nike Pegasus Trail 4. Maybe not a shoe for everybody, but for somebody who commutes a lot from their front door to the trails, this might be a really sweet shoe. Let me give you the ins and outs of what I think is great about the Nike Pegasus Trail 4 and what, I could probably live without. I've been able to get quite a few different types of run-ins with this. I got an 8-mile trail type race environment, which was about 1,800 feet of climbing. I got a 10+ mile run in on the trails in Mount Rose of Lake Tahoe area, as well as my typical commuter runs here in Southern California, and put this shoe through quite a bit of a test to find where I think this Nike Peg Trail 4 is a sweet spot. Now I do have to mention, I absolutely enjoyed the Trail 2, but this shoe is a complete redesign, and I do believe the Nike Pegasus Trail 4 is far better than its siblings, and let me get into why I think this shoe is great. Number one, and the biggest reason I like Pegasus Trail 4, other than its older siblings, is it just has a lot more pop. Both of them, Nike React foams, both of them pretty much, that commuter shoe, which is made for time for on the roads and then transitioning to the trails and then headed back to your house or car. But the foam feels to the touch definitely a lot softer and a lot springier. And I'll never forget when I first put this shoe on and got my very first run in it, it just had the ability to get myself into my gait cycle a lot better than its siblings in the Pegasus Trail 2 and 3. And so for that reason alone, and that reason only, I would jump into getting the Pegasus Trail 4 over its older siblings. And for a price point that's really not that much different, I definitely would dive into it. So why do I think it has more pop? It's the same foam, it feels softer, but it could just be that it weighs almost an ounce or an ounce lighter than its predecessors. And like I said, when I was able to put this through, it's kind of like race paces. Is this my race shoe? No, but I had a commuter portion of the Reno Tahoe Odyssey, and I had 1 mile on the roads and then 7 miles of trail running, and it just felt like that alive shoe that I wanted from it. I was gonna opt for my other trail shoes, but I just don't like putting those shoes on the road. They just kind of feel flat. I love my Speed Goats, I love my Peregrines, but they just feel flat on the roads, and therefore this was the shoe that I reached for when I did that trail run, and it felt alive. It felt really great, both on the 1,800 feet of ascending as well as the 2 miles of descending following, which leads me to another thing I like better than its predecessors. It's the outsole. It's a totally redesigned outsole that I felt far better grip in these shoes than I did in the other. I was able to run on the typical commuter trails that I have at home, which is desert dirty type tundra trails, to that long run in Mount Rose, which had some wet trails, some logs, some rocky sections, that this shoe just performed significantly better. I did a commuter FKT attempt in this shoe 2 years ago, which was from the Reno Arch to the top of Mount Rose. And when I started getting to that really rocky, a little bit more technical section, the Pegasus Trail 2 just didn't have that bite that now I'm feeling on literally the exact same trail with this Trail 4. So to me, I think that you have a lot more utility with this shoe, and it just performs better for what it's made for, commuting. It's just the best commuter trail shoe that I have ever put on. Another reason I like this shoe better, it's the complete redesign of the upper. Yeah, the toe box looks very, very similar, right? When you take a look at these toe boxes, it really has that similar feel, that similar look to it. But when you start to go to the heel collar, when you start to go to the feel of it, and most importantly, to the lacing up of this shoe, it allowed me to lock this shoe into place and not feel like I was struggling to get this shoe to conform to my foot, which is one of the hardest things that I had with the Pegasus Trail 2 and 3, was getting this thing locked in and getting it feeling secure to my foot like I can do with the road running shoes that I have. But when I put this 4 on, Pegasus Trail 4, it felt natural. It felt like Nike had got like their road shoe lockdown built in great, to the Trail 4. And that's why I believe this redesign of the upper is going to be far superior, and something I hope Nike continues with is this type of lockdown versus its predecessors and older siblings in this lineup. Those are the reasons that I like this shoe, but with every shoe, what are the things I don't like about it? First and foremost, this is not for your technical trails. I had 1 or 2 sections on the race and then 1 section on my long run on Mount Rose that had quite a bit of rocks, some of them sharp, some of them not. And man, when I got the rock in the wrong place, right in the center of my foot, right on the arch, it definitely felt the shoe. There's absolutely no rock plate in this shoe, and you can see that it's got that exposed React midsole. And I think that is where, like, when the rock would hit that exact spot, I really felt the rock, and it caused quite a bit of discomfort. Now, I did try to recreate it and I couldn't, but about 3 or 4 times on my runs thus far, and I put about 5, 6, maybe 7 runs in this shoe, it definitely has a spot where you can get a rock and it can be pretty discomfort. Not like crazy amount of pain, but I was like, whoa, that rock definitely jumped out and bit the arch of my foot. So technical trails, I will not be taking this out on my major technical trails, although we don't have a whole lot of those in Southern California, but I definitely will be using this almost exclusively for my commuter shoe that I put on most of my trail miles out here in California. Another thing that's tough about this shoe is wet days. So I accidentally got one shoe completely soaked on one of the runs and was running with a fully wet shoe, and it didn't dry out very good. And so if you're out doing rainy day runs, if you're out run commuting and it's raining, or you have muddy trails, or you have some creek crossings and things like that, I'm not quite sure this is gonna be the shoe I'm gonna reach for. But yeah, it definitely held water pretty much like a bowl. Now, would I get this shoe again? Absolutely. Like I told you, I love the Nike Pegasus Trail for my commuter runs, and being blessed to live in Southern California, and I have some incredible single track, fire roads, good climbing trails right at a mile from my house. I have anywhere between 1 to 2.5 miles of commuting to get to these trails, and this is my go-to shoe. It just feels right. I mean, today, almost 7 miles on the trails, 2.5 of them were on the roads, and this is the shoe I reach for first. I'm not gonna go get my Speed Goats. I'm not gonna go get my Peregrines. I'm not gonna go get my other trail shoes. The Nike Pegasus Trail 4 will be the shoe I reach for every single time when I'm going commuting. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for checking this out, and catch you in the next video.